Come on.
This is Outside the Round with Matt Burrill, a Raise Rowdy podcast.
And my man, Chase McDaniel.
What's up, dude?
One of two Chase McDaniels that is in Nashville, Tennessee. We're
One
just
of
having that
many,
conversation.
apparently.
One of many, bro. How the heck you doing today?
I'm good, bro. How you?
It's a Monday. What'd you do over the weekend?
I went home. Yeah. I went back to Kentucky for like 24 hours, which is nice.
What'd you do?
Just see family. Yeah, like my brother's, 16, catching up with him. My grandparents, catching up with them, and I don't know. Yeah, it's a super quick trip. It's like 2 hours up the road.
Oh, so you're like middle, like, or I guess it'd be considered Western Kentucky, right?
No, it's central. Like
Or it's
dead
central.
State. So you know I-65 where the dinosaur statues
Yeah,
are?
oh, yeah.
Like Guntown Mountain.
Yep.
Take a right, 30 minutes off the highway.
Oh, no
Yeah,
shit.
that's me. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Just gave away that to everyone.
There you go. You know
Just
where
go to the general area.
just find the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So it was just catching up with family and seeing your brother. Now your life over the past few years. Now we met like right around the start of COVID, the middle of COVID.
Dude, we did. Didn't
What,
we?
it was 2020?
Yeah,
right?
dude, I was living across the street from Live Oak at the time.
Oh, you were in those apartments.
It was a wild time in my life, yeah.
Were you in the 1505 or the Camden?
The Camden ones, yeah. It was legit.
That is one of the wildest places to live, especially during that time, because those were some of the few bars that were like, screw
Open.
it, we're going to stay open. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to keep having rounds. We're going to have people in here.
Yeah.
And
I was in walking distance. Like, just everything.
Oh,
Red
dude.
Door, winners, losers.
yeah, and if you're really feeling it, Broadway's a scooter ride away.
Well, I was walking distance depending on how much I had.
Okay, yeah.
At 2 or 3 a.m., it wasn't walking distance anymore.
Yeah.
Because
I remember meeting you, I think, at Live Oak. I forget if you were playing. It was
Yeah,
Live
yeah.
Oak or it was, and I saw you at Old Smoky, too. There was like a showcase, I think, at
Oh,
Old Smoky that you did.
yeah. A couple of my buddies were playing, and I played a prank on them that night.
Yeah.
That was fun. I told the bar, I was like, what's the nastiest thing you got? Like,
Yeah.
Because, I kind of knew some of the band, but I really knew one of the guys, and she was, like, just straight moonshine. So, I pretended I was giving them, like, these really high-class, like, shots, and they all took shots on stage. One dude almost threw up. Like, he had to, like, walk off stage.
The worst.
Yeah.
Man. Hey, that
I did
takes
feel kind of bad about that one.
takes a buddy to do that, though. Like,
Yeah,
I used
yeah.
to be notorious for, I tried doing what our buddy Trey Lewis does, where he just buys drinks for people, and being sober, he lives vicariously through other people getting hammered.
Yeah.
And I started looking at my bank account, being like, I can't afford these Midtown Fireball shots when people are on stage, There's only so much Fireball that my pocket can afford.
I can't even chew Big Red gum anymore, dude. Is it
Really?
anything cinnamon, dude? No.
Fireball
Can't.
ruined it for you.
Oh, yeah.
Because how old are you? We're about the same.
28.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm 29, so we're
Yeah.
about that
Yeah.
same age. We both came up in the era where if you were listening to country music, you had to have Fireball because Brian Kelly and Tyler Hubbard said
We're
so.
singing about it. Yeah. Fireball, Whiskey Whispers.
We've all drank Fireball out the handle or had those little mini
Dude,
bottles,
it was
bro.
the mini ones, dude. Probably, I don't remember
Or
being
like
that
the little,
big.
the little
Yeah,
like the 250 liter.
Yeah, the
250
250, yeah.
'Cause I remember like the little airplane bottles.
Yeah.
And people would fucking stuff their pants with them. Girls are stuffing their chests with them, and they're just you're just at a concert. You're up on the lawn at like an amphitheater, and all of a sudden there's just Fireball being passed out.
That's still a thing.
I don't know.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck they got in here, but they got in.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, Fireball was like a big part of just like the culture, and you obviously grew up in like the bourbon whiskey world.
Yeah, dude, it's funny, dude. I didn't really get into that until like I got older. But yeah, Fireball was definitely a thing. That and Four Loko.
Oh, you were a Four Loko guy.
I wasn't a guy. I wasn't a Four Loko guy, but I had my experience. Yeah, I had some Four Loko.
The OG Four Loko.
Yeah,
Before they PC'd it a little bit.
Dude, it was illegal for a while. I think.
Oh yeah, it was illegal in like every state, but like Texas,
Not Kentucky.
It was like illegal in like Texas, Kentucky, Florida, like the places you would think.
Yeah.
That a thing like rocket fuel, like Four Loko would. I remember in New York, they took that shit away from us quick in New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to have a lot of fun stuff up there. The rest of the country gets to enjoy.
Well, I think like we got away with so much because there's just so few people in our town. Like I know that sounds like weird because like at the same time like you could get in more trouble.
Yeah.
Because like especially like one of my buddies lived like right by the square, and so like we'd go to the square and we'd be messed up, and it's like okay, you can't do that. Like, you can't be like rolling around naked in the square. Like you're gonna get caught. 2 a.m. Like there's nothing going on.
How many kids are you graduating high school with?
Like 100. Yeah.
Wow, so small.
Yeah, I mean, well, and that was like the whole county too. So like I think like a lot of people were like, whoa, that's like more than I had. But like that was the only school we had in the entire county.
Yeah.
And so like there wasn't like I went to Greene County High School. It wasn't like Greene County High School, a city school, another school. Like, no, that was the only fucking school. Like,
the only option.
Yeah. So that was just every kid from like, 40-mile radius or whatever.
Isn't it crazy to think that we've been out of high school for like 10 years now?
Dude, I know. I just had my 10-year reunion. Yeah, it was weird.
Oh, you actually went to the reunion. See,
did.
for me, I've been living down here now for 6 years, so it's like, and my family, a lot of my family doesn't even live in New York anymore.
Oh,
like
really?
you get to a certain age, you're like, why are you going to pay the taxes to live up there? Like, why aren't you going to?
Yeah.
So the reason why people move to the Carolinas and Delaware and Florida and all of that, but I didn't like. I've never done a school reunion. What are those?
Really?
What are those like in 10-year one? Like,
well, we knew everybody, so like
so small, such a small
Right,
school.
right.
I'm sure a lot of folks are still living there.
yeah, for sure. And that's most of the people probably still showing up. But did you know everybody? Like you probably didn't know.
I knew quite a few people
Okay.
in my school. I graduated opposite of you a little bit.
Yeah.
By actually opposite of you by a lot. Complete opposite. I grew up in like the suburbs in New York, and in our county we had, I want to say like 7 or 8 high schools, or public schools.
Yeah.
My town, because it goes like you have the state, then you have the county, then you have the towns, then within the towns there's like villages or sections. And my town had 2 high schools, a Clarkstown North and a Clarkstown South. Each school, when I was going there, was graduating 400 to 500 kids.
Oh wow.
And that was the town divided up into 2 high schools.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of kids.
So that's like the high school that like movies are about. Like it's
Kinda, I guess. I mean, if we were all, there were some schools in our area that were like that, but put together into one. So they're graduating like 1,000 kids. It's like a college, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But I knew a lot of people. Like I played sports growing up, and like I was
yeah.
involved in like the TV, like the like sports media stuff.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like the popular kid. It's actually funny because like you've had your journeys with like sobriety and stuff, right?
Yeah,
I remember right.
Yeah.
So I was actually this was before I like started using. I was on a thing called VASA. It was Varsity Athletes Against Substance Abuse.
Nice.
I was the only kid on the football team that I think ever.
It's hard being that guy.
Dude, yeah, because I was going to parties and watching idiots punch holes in walls and do
Right.
dumb shit, but I just wasn't using anything. And now, of course, I'm like a nicotine, caffeine fiend, but I was like going to elementary schools and middle schools and being like, hey, don't do drugs. Don't be putting Copenhagen in your lip. Don't be smoking cigs. Don't be doing this.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I discovered alcohol and had my fun with it for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But it's like you find, it's like yours and the stuff in high school, it feels like it matters so much in the moment.
For sure. Yeah.
But you live so many chapters even after that. Like for you now going back to that Greene County high school reunion now and having the life that you've had over the last 12 months, 18 months, however long it's been.
Yeah.
What's it like going home and seeing the homies from that class of 100 now and being the guy that they can hear on the radio, the guy that they can pull up their mute where people are fucking line dancing to the shit and you are the project, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, it's interesting you say, like, I guess we did, but I didn't really experience, like, we didn't really have, like, cliques or, like, popular kids. And, like, I mean, it was small, and everybody was kind of in the same boat. Like, you had I played football, I played a bunch of sports, and, like, you had your kids who played sports, you had your kids who were, more acclimated to music. And, but, like, we all just knew, like, hey, we're all redneck as fuck. We're all poor. We're all like,
well, were there like,
we're
they're like the farmer kids?
Sure,
were there like the kids whose families went to church a little bit more? You had like your guys sitting outside the Piggly Wiggly parking lot.
That was me too. I'm gonna be honest. Like when I was in I forget it was probably like 7th grade. Like I got real religious.
Yeah,
dude. I read the Bible straight through when I was like 12,
wow,
dude. Like from Genesis through Revelation. I was like, and I remember like all my teachers like bragging on me and stuff, and I was like. I didn't understand it. Like, I was like trying to recite.
They were just words on a page at that point.
Yeah, but I was telling my boys, I was like, "Hey, you better, don't touch yourself at night." You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff. Like, I was that kid for a couple years. It's kind of funny, like looking back on that stuff. Like,
yeah.
Like, but yeah, I mean, like when I got into high school, I got really into competitive weightlifting because my grandpa did it when he was young, and then my dad did it too. My dad was a big dude. My dad was a big dude. And so I think like a lot of that was just like trying to live up to like expectations and stuff, but I just happen to be really good at it.
Well, yeah,
you
have that low center of gravity.
I would say like I'm a small dude, but like I got really good at something, and then like all of a sudden like I was like it gave me like status. And I was talking to my grandpa this yesterday. I was like, when I went back home, I was like, hey, like thanks for training the shit out of me and like making me hate my life, because it made me like cool.
Yeah,
like other kids like respected me, and they were like they didn't know I couldn't fight. They just thought I was strong.
Like, what were your like? What were you benching? What were you deadlifting? I'm guessing you're cleaning. You're doing everything.
I was pretty. I don't want to say.
What do you mean you don't want to say?
I was pretty strong.
Yeah, tell me. What were you fucking doing? Because I got up to like 235 bench when I was like peak football, and I thought I was the shit. Yeah. And I had buddies doing like 285, like nothing.
I was repping 315, and I was like,
you were repping 315,
and I was like 150.
God damn.
Yeah, I was pretty good. But like you gotta think like my dad, like my grandpa, like I was in a gym when I was 4 years old. Like
doing what? What's a 4-year-old doing in the gym? Are you just like doing like box jumps?
Making sure my legs never grew. Like I don't know, like making sure my knees like locked into place. But yeah, dude, like I was doing squats and stuff when I was like, no joke, like 6, 7 years old. Wow. So like I was like, that's just what my family did. Like it was like worked out like crazy. So that's like all I knew. And then I had an accident when I was in college. So like I went to University of Louisville and I did Olympic weightlifting, and I passed out at the top of a clean and jerk.
Jeez, of all the times to pass out, that is some scary shit. You fall backwards,
fell back, hit my head.
Fuck.
Woke up in a CAT scan machine. Didn't. I thought I was dead. And so like I remember like praying. I was like, dude, God, like if I just make it through this, I'll never cuss again. like I'll never drink. It's all these things. And it turns out I lived, but I thought I was dead. Like I thought my life was over, and I didn't live for like 6 years after that. Like I just couldn't go back to the gym.
You got to be safe. There's so much safety that's required. People don't know that. These kids get reckless in these gyms, bro.
I was. Like I had never had an accident before. So I was like, and I had that like cocky 18-year-old attitude. Yeah. Like, nothing can hurt me. I was driving 100 miles an hour everywhere I went, like racing my buddies, like, you know what I mean? Just like, how fast can I get from A to B, you know, kind of thing. And we all do our stuff, but it's like, you just hope your mistakes are like less enough that you survive those years,
Absolutely, dude. And you go through stuff like that and go through upbringings like you came up from too. It's tough. Like you go through these hardships and then you put the hard work in, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I feel like you've started really coming out of that tunnel and going into that light these past year.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, man. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this whole journey, like I've always loved country music. That was always kind of my thing. I didn't know that's where I'd end up. Like, to be honest, I didn't think it was possible. I knew it was my first love. But, we live in a world now where, like, social media is free. Everybody's got the same opportunity. So you just got to go and get after it, dude. And, if that means making a couple videos that make you look like a dumbass, like, it's just, you got to do it. Yeah. And I'm cool with it because, if that keeps me from stopping my dream, that's just not, that's crazy. Like, I can't, if the opportunity is there and all you got to do is go after it, like I just feel like there's no other generation where I could have been in this industry, where like, I would have been discovered, and like, it's just, it's not. So I'm thankful to be in this one where it's like, just work hard and write songs.
And it's like your music, it hits both sides. Cause for me, there's like a storyteller, put you in your feels country. And there's like the party, have a good time country that we were out tailgating to in high school, in college, So it's your music, especially on this first project that you put out, no pun intended with the word project, back in January, you see both sides of that coin where you have songs, like the Daughter song, for example, right. Relapse, like those are songs that people are going to relate to when they're going through something. Like every guy knows that girl that they could relate to that song. They might not be with that girl, but they know that situation in the town they came up in. And then you have songs like Project and your stuff that fits more the dancing, like in the club kind of thing, which is great too. Like being able to do both sides of that coin, that's not easy. And not a lot of people have the opportunity to do that. They're usually pigeonholed into one thing.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, like it probably wasn't smart.
What do you mean it wasn't smart?
I'm just like, I've always just made what I like.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it appeals to both.
Well, I appreciate you saying that.
It's a good thing.
I think like, it's some people could say like, how could you go from one to the other? But like I always just wrote what the kind of music that made sense to me, and hit me in the feels. And like, I think as long as the music like says something that's of substance, like, whether it's a party song or a getting your feels kind of song, like it was the substance that mattered to me. It was the substance I wanted to hear in country music. So.
Yeah, and it's, for me, the live show is so important, given my history in this industry, and obviously my first love. It's funny, I have your Spotify pulled up, and it's like the photo of you. There's actually, my grandmother has a similar photo of me with a cowboy hat on, singing Tim McGraw, like circa 1999,
no way,
2000. Yeah, same kind of thing,
dude.
I've seen photos of like Trey Lewis like this. There's so many guys and girls where it's like their first moment doing this was being a little kid singing their favorite song from that time, or their parents' favorite song. That
dude, I wanted to ask you, because I think I knew you were from New York, but it was like living in the back of my head. So like, and obviously I know there's parts of New York that are super country. We played up in Rhinebeck, and that was like, that was as country as Kentucky.
That's up there.
Yeah, yeah. And but like, I just wondered, like, because like, ever since I've known you, like, country's so authentic to you.
Yeah.
Like, so how did that get introduced in your life?
So really, it was like the first songs I remember hearing was that first Tim McGraw Greatest Hits record.
Yeah.
It's where he's got the red shirt on, the black hat, you can't see his face.
Yeah.
And it's got like
had that on my iPod.
Dude, Indian Outlaw, Down on the Farm, Don't Take the Girl, Green Grass Grows. I like it, I love it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that was all my grandma was. She was playing that and the Beach Boys in her Ford Windstar.
Nice.
And I was sitting in that fucking car seat. And then my aunt was my Aunt Allie, probably one of the biggest Tim McGraw fans I've ever known. She's seen him probably 30 times. Like the way the women freak out about Morgan and Zach Bryan and that now, or Riley Green now, was how people were freaking out about Tim and Kenny and Tracy Lawrence.
And
that,
good point.
20 years ago, those were the guys. 25, 30 years ago, those were the guys. So I just grew up listening to that. My first concert was a Tim McGraw concert.
No way.
It was back. Cool. It was at the Continental Arenas, which doesn't exist anymore. They used to have where the Giants Stadium is, and now I guess it's MetLife, where the Giants and the Jets play. Across on the other side of the highway was an arena where the New Jersey Devils and the New Jersey Nets played, and they would do concerts there. Yeah. So I went. This was 2003, so I was 8. I was in the 3rd grade. It was a school night because I remember going to school the next day and having a little glow stick. It was when Tim McGraw was before he found sobriety. This was like this is when Tim partied like Morgan. Like this is when Tim was wild. Like before cell phones, before social media, all that stuff. And he would have no opener out with him. And he'd play for 2 hours every night. Like what Eric Church did with, remember that tour where it was just, he would play and it'd be like a different set every night? Yeah. Tim was doing that in like 2003. So I remember going to that, and it just, I fell in love with it there. And then when I was in college, I had a country radio show where there was a radio show called Redneck Radio. And I was just like, what is that? That sounds like fun. Because I had been to a Toby Keith concert earlier. I'd been to probably 3 or 4 country shows that summer. Yeah. By myself, not with my friends, not with my family. Yeah. And I was like, damn, this parking lot's fun. Yeah. Damn, this lawn is fun. Oh, look at that girl over there. Oh, look at this. I'm just a young 18-year-old kid. Like, this is fucking
So you were attracted
awesome.
to country girls too.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it wasn't even like country girls. It was like girls in just at country shows, but also the patriotism thing, like going to a Toby Keith concert and him bringing the veterans him bringing the veterans out on stage for American Soldier.
Dude, I remember being on the school bus in like 3rd grade, and everybody's like, "Put a boot in his ass."
Oh
like,
yeah,
just like,
dude. I remember watching CMT and seeing the music video for "How Do You Like Me Now," and like one of my babysitter Ashley, her boyfriend Chris would like had an American flag guitar and like learned how to play Crazy Red, White, and Blue like right after 9/11, like the Lee Greenwood stuff, like because growing up in New York and being 6 when 9/11 happens, our patriotism meter through the fucking roof, and but yeah, it was just all those elements of it, and then like the storytelling and everything within the songs, like. The first CD I ever bought, the first 3 CDs I ever bought with my own money. They were at a Target, and I had one of those like Walkman like CD player things. And Kenny Chesney, No Shoes, No Shirt, No Problems. Nickelback, All the Right Reasons. And Red Hot Chili Peppers, Stadium Arcadium.
Wow. I didn't have that one, but I had the other two.
Yeah, the other two, dude. Yeah. So it's like I just came up with like being in the industry that way, and it's like the folks in the Northeast. And I guess I haven't been out on the West Coast, but I'm thinking them too. We put on extra hard when a country show comes because there's a chip on our shoulder. Gotcha. Because of
You think the South thinks that you're not country?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's like, I remember it was right around Valentine's Day, 2014 or 15. I saw FGL sell out Madison Square Garden, 20-something thousand people on a Tuesday night.
Wow.
It was a Tuesday night show or Wednesday night show. Like the shows, and it's like the people at the tailgates at the shows in like the city markets in the Northeast, they just put on harder because there's a chip on our shoulder, like especially when the that ain't country thing was going on. I feel like that's gone away now.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole that ain't country thing has gone away, and guys like yourself that are like genre blending in a way, because obviously like Blame It All on Country Music, that's the name of the EP that's out now, which you guys should all check out, by the way. And it's like, obviously your stuff is in the country lane. You're signed to a country deal. Like you're in the country world, but you have elements of other shit. And it's because we all grew up listening to all kinds of shit. Yeah. You know?
100%.
So that's kind of my long-winded story of like how I got, I guess, into it. And then college radio, when I had my college radio show, like I was going to 70, 80 shows a year.
Wow.
I was driving wherever they were.
Dude, that's crazy.
Like just driving to them. Yeah, like whether it was like we had Morgan Wallen play at Jenks Club, like Jenks Club from the Jersey Shore. Yeah. We had Morgan play there on a Wednesday night. I did a whole interview thing with him. We would have Combs would come up and do radio shows. Like people, like any opportunity there was, I just tried to figure out my way to get into the industry. That's and then eventually made the move down here, and it's been a wild ride. But you know, it's like it is funny, like coming up as like I feel like I embraced more of like the country stuff when I was in New York, and now I embrace more of the New York stuff now that I'm down here. You know, like it's kind of funny. Yeah,
dude, I was talking to a buddy the other day. It's like country music and probably hip hop are the only two genres where there's like a culture of like you're one of us or you're not one of us. Yeah. And it's like you have to like have like a certain kind of cred to like be in the club, and like even the fans like recognize like the authenticity.
Yeah. And, you know. And then there's subgenres
within that. Yeah.
Within that, there's so many subgenres within hip hop that have been the thing for 20, 30 years of like different styles, different regions, different things like that. And now it's like country, we have that too. Yeah. Yeah. You have your mainstream stuff. You have your stuff that'll get played at a place like Wild Greg's down in Pensacola, Florida, where like a song like Project will live, you know? Yeah. And then you'll have like your side of the mountain hole in the wall somewhere in the Carolinas or Appalachia somewhere where it's like that outlaw fucking Cody Jinks shit, where it's like there's room for all of it.
I agree, and I think that's cool because I don't think that it even existed 7-8 years ago.
Bro, it didn't exist when you and I got here. Yeah, no. Honestly, it was starting to form, but there was still so much hate on it.
Yeah. And like people, I think, still try to, especially like the industry in this town has a tendency to chase the trends. But it's like now there's so much that's existing. It's like one thing might be hot for half a second, but really people are just looking for good music. Yeah. And so like if you're in the country genre, they're listening to Zach Bryan and Morgan. Yeah. And it's like those are the two opposite ends of the spectrum, but they're listening to everything in between too. And so those are two, you know, you could say quote unquote trends. I don't think they're trends. I think they're going to last. Yeah. But like, you know, people just want good music within the genre that they love. And so if it's a good song, I think the song wins. Yeah. You know, but yeah, I think it's cool that now you could go whatever format you listen to music, you're going to find folk country, Americana country, hip hop country, pop country, rock country. It's like it all exists in the way that pop top 40 did 10, 15 years ago, you know, and I like that because everyone's represented.
Yeah, I like that too, that everyone is included, and there really isn't, and there still is like an underground. Yeah, there still very much is an underground, and that's something that we pride ourselves on a lot. Nick and myself with Raised Rowdy, that's kind of like how we started. Was we like to find shit before it's quote unquote cool, like when we think it's cool. And you're one of those guys that we got to be early on, you know, like playing our stuff at Live Oak, and then last year seeing you on that saloon stage at Country Concert in Fort Laramie, Ohio, was such a cool moment, because I'm like, that's my fucking boy. Like I've known this dude for the past few years, and remember him when he didn't have anything going on, and now to see and now to fast forward a few years and he's on the stage and people know your music and know who you are, and because you've been writing songs for a while. I'm like, you've been at this thing for what now?
I've been in town 8 years.
Yeah.
Maybe going on 9. Yeah, I think that's the thing that surprises people. I think, like, especially like when I get into rooms and stuff, I think people just assume that like I was a TikTok artist.
That you were a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that it was just a novelty kind of thing, or an actor wasn't gonna stick around, and it's like I've been doing this for a long time. My catalog's like pretty big. Like,
yeah.
like I'm writing 150, 200 songs a year.
Yeah.
So like, when I show up, I know exactly what I want. I know who I am. I know my vision. I know my brand. I know what I want to say, my message, all that. And that only comes from doing it a really long time and it being a dream from the time you were 4 years old,
Yeah, the picture on the cover, bro.
Yeah.
Literally, like that's
So it's
really started.
But yeah, I mean, so there is that, and I try not to like. I think I'll probably always have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder just because where I came from and how that probably made me feel, but at the same time, I'm so grateful to have a shot to play ball. Like I never thought I'd get to play ball, and that's I think that's why I'm like the most grateful for like social media and everything these days. The way that it's shaped now is that it's just giving opportunity to the people who are willing to go after it. And it's like I know so many people say, and I wish I could get in their heads and help change their mind. But like, oh, I just don't know how to get on social. I just don't know how to market myself. And it's like, well, is this your dream? Yeah, it's my dream. Do you want it? Yeah, I want it. How bad do you want it? I want it so bad. Do you want it bad enough to learn a new thing? You know what I mean? And it's like, I get it. It's difficult, and it's like you got to challenge yourself in some ways, but that's what it takes when you come to chasing your dream, man. If you got to want it more than anything else, and that means you got to push yourself, and it's going to be hard, and there's going to be things you don't like to do, and it's just like, to me, there's nothing that's going to stop me from doing that. So it's like, it gave me a chance to play ball. So.
Bro, I think that goes back to the like your upbringing in the weightlifting and nothing being given to you and your idols, your family, like being like, all right, boy, you got to lift. You want to do this thing. The only way you get better is by doing it and by getting reps and by setting those maxes and setting those goals. And that's such a goal oriented thing.
Yeah.
It translates so much to music.
Yeah.
Even though it's like an art and a sport and they do have a lot of differences, that competitive edge and that mindset being like, if you really want it, fucking go get it.
Yeah.
You can't count out the dog that has too much fight in it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. And I think that's like, there's another side of that coin that like, I think is important too, that like, I think so many people in our generation were taught like, you got to chase your dream, to the point that like, it kind of feels like the expectation to like succeed at your dream. And that wasn't really what I was taught. I think like being raised by my grandparents, like, I was taught that like just having a work ethic was the expectation. Like that's the dream, was to make a living, to have a job, to like be able to provide. Yeah. And so like, it's a celebration when you achieve your dream. It's not like the pressure or the expectation. And so like, I think like, especially like living in the social media world where everybody's winning, everybody's posting their highlights. Like it feels like, oh man, that should be me. Why am I not doing better? And it's like, I think a lot of people like get paralyzed under that pressure. And I feel that too sometimes, but you can't feel like it's an expectation to achieve your dream. Like that's a celebration when you get that. And I think that's why maybe some people aren't as fulfilled when it's like, oh, it's right here and I'm still like empty. Yeah.
I forget who was on the other day, but I had someone on the pod and we were talking about like how important it is to have the blinders on.
Yeah.
And like the horse and obviously Kentucky horses, all that shit. But it's like, you got to have like your blinders on, but like with horses, when they wear their blinders, they don't put the blinders on themselves. They have somebody that helps them get those on. And I feel like that's what a manager, that's what a team, that's what a producer, that's what your circle kind of does, is help you put those blinders on, the focus on being the best fucking Chase McDaniel you can be. Like to be the best version of you, and everybody's journey is different.
Dude, I think that that's such an important thing in life. Like you think of like the people that impacted you when you were growing up, and it was like coaches and teachers and mentors and like strong leaders, like whether they were men or women, but like especially for me, like not having like that role model in my life, like it being filled in by my grandpa and my coaches and like that kind of thing, like having somebody in your ear like to motivate you can do that. I feel like that's like heavily voided right now, like in our like culture, like just having people to like talk purpose into you and motivate you and say that you can do it. And it's like, man, like, I see, people like, my younger brothers who are just like kind of like, where do I look to for something like that? And it's like, man, that generation needs more leaders, more coaches.
Yeah, dude, we're very lucky to have grown up when we did. Not super lucky because now we're adults dealing with this shit that's happening right now, but to have, we were like kind of at the tail end of those values that were in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And we got to experience that like before things got really heavily softened. Like we had to go through some shit and we had to learn how to figure out the shit, but we had people that had also been through shit. Yeah. Now it's like the generations aren't having to deal with the shit on a personal level.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, they're dealing with so much.
They're dealing with a lot. Yeah, they're dealing with so much. But I'm saying like
once in a lifetime event every month.
Yeah. I'm saying like the motivation for like the work ethic.
Yeah,
and, like, figuring yourself
for sure,
out
for sure.
And the figuring out yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
And these things I don't think help. No, I mean, they're great for what we do with
it's a great tool.
Getting eyes and ears on things, but like it
comes with a price.
Yeah, it comes with a price. Yeah. Everybody's so glued to these things that the one-on-one experience is like riding around the town square and hanging out with your buddies and not knowing what anybody else is doing, but just being in that moment with your boys at like 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah. These kids don't have that anymore.
It's wild. It's really wild. Like to think that like there's something that's so much a part of like who you are, that like other people may not get to experience that because it's just of a generation shift. Yeah. I was hanging out when I went back home. I saw all my high school friends or several of my buddies that like I played ball with or whatever, and I was like, dude, I needed this. Like we just hung out till like 3 a.m. in like the Mexican restaurant parking lot, But like that's just what we did, and that's like what we still do, just like catch up on life, like where you at, what's going on, and
having a conversation.
Can't imagine like my brothers not having that. You know what I'm saying? It's like that was so important to who I am.
And it's like they don't.
Yeah.
Like we're so connected, like that it's to a fault kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's
like it's like it's connection, but it's like anti-connection at the same time. It's like it's like the illusion of connection. It's like the shadow of a stranger online telling you that you're good enough because of this post you made. Yeah. It's like no, like that ain't true. Like that ain't true connection. Connection's like what we're doing, like looking in my eyes and like
exactly.
Not in a weird way, but like talking to each other,
talking to each other, and having that thing. So speaking of talking to each other. You've gotten now to the point where you have a team. Yeah. You have
which thank God.
People that work with you. You're over at where at?
I'm at Big Machine Records.
Big Machine Records.
Yeah.
What is it like to get a fucking call and get in a room with that stuff? And I guess backing up, like what was the first deal that you had signed? Because again, dude, you're a journeyman at this shit. You've been in town for a long time. You've made so many connections, had your ups and downs. It's a roller coaster, dude. And for a lot of people, but for you especially, just this roller coaster. What's that first moment where you're like, all right, it's starting to happen?
Well, my first deal that I actually signed was my record deal.
Really?
Yeah.
That came first. Shit.
Well, so yeah, it happened. Well, I mean, when it happened, like, they say 10 years overnight kind of thing. And like, it does look like, things happen fast, and they did once they began happening.
Yeah.
But I had it all planned, like, going into it, before like I had the songs that like ready that I was going to drop. I didn't just like make one song. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make another song. Like I was like, no, I had a few songs like ready to go.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I met my agent actually, and that was a total like just being at the right time kind of thing, like and so I was bartending, and
where were you bartending?
A place called the Ainsworth.
Oh, dude,
right in Midtown. Yeah. And so that's where I met my girlfriend too. She was the bartender there, and I was I was like waiting tables.
We love hospitality. Dude, industry love, bro. Yeah, we love bar love.
I was I just kept like bugging my manager to like let me bartend because I know I get to work more hours. This was like during COVID, and then like we were closing early and stuff, but the bartenders got to work a couple extra hours. So I was like, please, like I'll do anything, just let me bartend. I had no bartending experience.
Yeah.
And finally, he let me do it, and she was the one that trained me. And so I was like, all right, cool. Like, and then anyway. So, but anyway, I was serving these two dudes for like a year. And this one, I remember this one dude would order Stella, and this other dude would order Miller Lite. And we just kind of would talk, and we were acquaintances or whatever. They would come in around the same time on the weekdays. They wouldn't come in on the weekends. And one night, my bar manager was like making fun of me. I just dropped my very first song. and he was playing it over the speakers of the Ainsworth, and like he was like ha ha ha, just being silly. And one of the guys was like, "Is this your song?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's my song. My manager's making fun of me." And they were like, "I really like this. Like, can you send it to me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "I want to send it to a friend of mine." The very next day, I get a call from Kevin Neal at William Morris Endeavor. And he's like, "Hey, I heard your song, and I really like it. And I think it's different. And I'd like to have lunch with you, And I had no idea who he was. Thank God I didn't.
Yeah.
Because like if I did, I would have like had a panic attack going into that lunch. But like, yeah, we left lunch, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to work with you. Like, let's book some shows." And so that was really the first thing before my record deal. And he was like instrumental in just like teaching me, what I needed to do and like kind of get in the pieces there. Like I wouldn't be who I am without him. And he's just he's a legend. He's a great dude.
Yeah.
Everyone, like anybody you meet has nothing bad to say about that man. And I think that is such a testament to someone's character. And it's like, oh, thank God I ended up in the right hands.
Especially in this town where
yeah.
word travels fast and
Yes.
everybody seems to have like a motive.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of like shit talking that goes on. So to be with someone that's genuine and seen in that light,
Yeah.
especially on the agency side,
For sure.
that is very rare. Like,
Yeah.
You found a good one, dude.
Yeah.
And they found a good one too.
Hey, well, I appreciate it. Well, yeah, I think a lot of people don't have an agent first. And like he kind of acted like, I mean, he was helping with so much. And like, of course he had Jason and some other things going on. But obviously Jason's, doing so well. Like he was just trying to help like get me started. And so like I just had all of his passion and like, attention, and it was awesome, and yeah, man, I wouldn't be where I am without that guy. And then, he introduced me to Scott, and but we met with everybody, and Scott was like my guy. Like it was just one of those things where, it was at a time where the town was so much about the numbers. The town was so much about statistics, so much about streams, so much about your TikTok followers. And I felt like every meeting I went to, that's all anybody wanted to talk about. And I feel like more like they were trying to figure out how I did it so they could teach their people how to do it.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of a time like where like independent artists were getting traction,
Yeah,
but like a lot of label artists didn't know how to do it yet.
Yeah, when was this? When
this was 2021, probably.
Okay,
maybe 2022.
So this is like during this is like right out of
This
COVID.
is the jump, yeah.
When like you have folks on TikTok, like that's post DDID with Trey. That's post
right. Yeah.
DDID was December 2020.
He did that
so it's
way
like,
before I did.
So it's right after that.
Yeah.
But then you have folks like your Cooper Allens, your
Yeah, yeah.
Ashley Cooks, your Priscillas.
Yeah.
Priscilla was a little before that.
Yeah.
But you have
I was still late to the party compared to all those people. Like my first stuff going viral was like jokes that I was making on TikTok. Yeah.
Like what? Like what kind of jokes?
I don't remember. I just remember like I would stitch stuff. Like I remember I did that whole series like country artists if they were girls, if I'd hook up with them, like how many shots it would take me to hook up with them.
Yeah.
And like I had one that like a couple like the big pages like reposted that went viral and stuff. And so I did like a whole series on it. That was before I posted. I didn't have any music out, so like people just thought I was like, I guess, funny.
Yeah.
And I posted one about that like people would come up to me and recognize me from this TikTok. Remember that being like, oh my God, like this is a thing. It was something about these girls that like came to town and they were like dogging on country music.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I talked shit about him for a minute, but at the end of him, like gave him my address. And but like people recognized me from that. And I was like, dude, like this is a tool, dude. Like I was like just going to like music industry type stuff and like, you're that guy that made that joke about the girls. I'm like, damn. And so I started posting my music on there, and it took a while, but it finally got traction. And when I did, I can't stop,
Yeah.
So
fucking wild.
Yeah. But to say all that, like everybody was just like, numbers, and Scott was like, I love your music. Like I love what, like I want to work with you, and like that was like, he's a good man, and he believed in what I was doing. He believed in my vision and just wanted to help elevate it, and that just meant the world to me, and he, connected with my story and everything. And I was like, all right, cool. This guy's like the real deal.
Yeah.
So it made sense, and I'm, no going back now. So
yeah. Then you've been over there now for what now? Like a year?
Uh,
or two?
yeah. Not two, maybe a year. Yeah. We announced in January when we released the EP, and now we've been just like working on. I've been writing a ton. Like I, wrote over 100 songs, 150 something songs last year, and we just recorded a few, and now we're, it's moving. So,
and I got to shout out some of the guys that you write with, and one of the main guys being a fellow Hermitage resident like me, Mr. Jerry Jacobs.
Jerry was a writer on every song on the first EP, I think, other than Relapse, and he produced that one. So yeah,
I know he's been kind of in your corner, and a really just a good dude, just a guy that supports good people. One of the hardworking guys, and somebody that folks have slept on as a producer,
dude,
and as a writer for a long time. That's starting to get brought to light through guys like yourself.
Yeah. So, dude, a lot of people don't know this, but he had the track for Project.
Yeah.
And so, like, we didn't write that to guitars or anything. Like, I came in one day and he had this kind of beat going, and he brought it up by accident, and he was like, just clicking through stuff, like we were trying to get, inspired or whatever. And he brought up this beat, and he's like, I don't know what this is. It just says Project. And I was like, that's cool. And he's like, no, it's just like what's the default name for a file.
Yeah,
and I forgot to name it, basically. He's like, I made some sounds and I forgot to name it, so the default name for it was just Project 6 or whatever. And I was like, no, I actually had a song idea in my songbook called Project. Like, and he's like, no way. And I was like, yeah, I think we should write a song called Project. And so he plays the beat, and all of a sudden, like, I'm a baby, I'm a pride, like, and it just fits so well. And I had always wanted to do a song, like some of my favorite songs, because like country it has just a rich history of like lifting the chorus.
Yeah.
But like I loved Josh Turner, I loved Chris Young, like I loved Randy Travis, like those are my like top three, like just that low stuff. I always wanted to drop on the chorus, and we pulled it off, and then put a rap in the song.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to do what it did in the line dance community. So
changed your life.
It changed my life. Yeah, Queen Bee did a post, like we were already like doing, I guess, pretty well, like on the TikTok thing, and then she made the dance, and like then it took over the line dancing bars. And so we started playing these line dancing bars, and I had no idea, dude, like how big, like how mainstream it was.
Bro, people go nuts over that shit.
It's crazy. And I had never been, like I had never been line dancing, and I never like knew a line dance. Like I saw the movie, Footloose, but that was about the extent of like, but like, dude, it's fun. It's really fun. And I've like been to some of the contests and stuff they've had now, and I've went to the Palace, when they've played my song, and we shot the music video at the Palace.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And so, we flew her out, Queen Bee, and she like led the dance and everything. It's cool, man. I know there's like people in town that probably think it's like cringy that like, I did the dance or whatever, but I'm like, dude, that thing changed my life. I'll learn the damn dance. I'll video myself doing it. Like, I don't care. But that was like, that was the moment where I was like, man, like this, I couldn't believe it. What's funny is like when we made that song, I remember telling Jerry, I was like, dude, I think this is like my favorite song that we've made.
It's just so different.
Yeah, but like what
sticks out?
Well, people I played it for, like especially around town, they were like, I don't get it, and I was like, okay, well, I like it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, is it country? Is it? And I was like, I don't know what it is. I like it.
Yeah.
And it was just, I know it was really left field. And so, but it just goes back to, I was always just trying to make music that I liked.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really trying to fit in with anybody or any particular thing. It was just like, I like this, I'm a little bit of this, I'm a little bit of that, and this particular time it just happened to hit. So
yeah, dude, it's got that hook that just sticks in your fucking head over and over again, which
Thanks,
is
man.
what they call a hit song, because it fucking hits and doesn't go out, dude. Like
Thanks, man.
And your stuff, the rest of the EP, like we were talking about your daughter, like your daughter is such a fucking that's as country of a song as you can have, like telling the story, and then obviously like you have like Drop Your Tailgate, another one that can be on the dancing side, and then you have like Blame It All on Country Music, which is kind of like your story. But your daughter, where does that come from? Is that a real story that goes back to your girlfriend? Or
No. Well, I mean, I think that's what's. I think a lot of people assume that, but I wrote it about my little sister.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So our dad was an addict growing up. We lost him. I was 17 years old. She was 7. And so it was kind of like the closing of a chapter. Like I remember there was just a time where like I wanted her to know that I had her back, and when I wrote the song, like our dad was already gone. But I was writing it from the perspective of us as kids, because like it was something that like we knew was going on, but we really couldn't explain like what was going on. And, it was one of those things where like you just sometimes like to heal that part of you, you got to go back, to the dark. And like, even though things might be good now, it's like you got to go back to in your head and your memories to fix it. And so, I just, I think it was a good turning point for my family to reach a path of like getting closer together, and also like kind of getting on the path of forgiveness too.
Yeah, and that's just you and Jerry, huh?
Yeah. I brought that. I pretty much had the song like, and then Jerry's just amazing with like making sure everything fits and the melody and stuff like that. So, taking out a syllable here and there, and he had this awesome line that like I said that's got to go on the song, and I think it was the line broken heart armor, and I had never heard that way before, and I had another line originally, and I liked the line, and I thought this is what the song's gonna be, but this also like rhymed with it and fit really well, and I was like, man, like that is just so on the nose of what I'm trying to say, like broken heart armor is just like exactly like what everybody puts on. Like when we get hurt, we develop this defense mechanism to keep other people away. Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say. And so I replace that, and but man, it's just. Yeah, I'm really glad. There's a few songs that like, I was thinking of this today, like, and this is getting really heady and like spiritual.
Yeah,
but, like,
let's do it. Yeah,
I was driving down back from Kentucky, and I was just thinking about like the creative process, and I was getting like really spiritual, like about like God and my faith and everything, and like just like the source of like all that is, and like the fact that like the first verse in the Bible is like, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, and so like if we are like made in that image of the source at all, like creativity would be one of those images, one of those things, and that means that God is creative. And I think like our songs can become like our babies, and it's like when you create something like that really means something to you, and then you like, if someone were to tell you that like this sucks, this is the worst song I ever heard, like how that would like destroy you, and there's only certain songs like that, but like I think of like how we talk to ourselves. Like, I hate myself. I'm a worthless piece of shit. Like, I don't deserve it. And it's like, I was like, man, how that seems to something that created us, and not in a way that's like sympathetic towards God's feelings, but in a way that like he must have thought it was necessary for us to be here. Must have thought it was necessary for us to exist. In the way that like when we're creating, we're expressing ourselves because we think that this thing we're making is necessary to exist. Yeah. I thought it was necessary for that song to exist. And so I'm glad it exists, in the fact that it brought my family closer together, the fact that it helped us, understand each other and feel understood, and, feel less alone and everything. So, yeah, that's the extent of that one, really.
Yeah, dude, I personally love it. I know projects like The Hit, but that's my favorite as someone that's around. I'm not a writer or musician or any of that stuff, but me and Nikki like to say we're really good at listening. That's what we like doing. And now, for those that haven't been, what is a Chase McDaniel show like? Because I feel like we were talking about Roller Coaster earlier. Yeah. I feel like that's the show, because you can get into a swell with a song like that, and then you can come right back up.
Well, I think I always thought about, growing up in Kentucky, like you said, you were going to 70, 80 shows like that. Like, there was no live music. Yeah. And so, like, live music was the church. That's it. And so I didn't even know, like, until I got, like, those Nickelback records, and, like, I had a Josh Turner CD. That was my first one. But, I thought bluegrass music was just it. Like, because bluegrass was our gospel. Yeah. And so like within the church, people sang hymns and people sang, gospel songs, but it was all bluegrass. It was all with a mandolin or with, something like that, or banjo. And so, like that was the only live music. Like, people would go to church functions or a revival, and that was where you heard harmony and got to go to like a quote unquote concert. Yeah. My first concert was when I was in college, and it was Jason Aldean and FGL. Wow. And it was at Rupp Arena. And so like, and I think a lot of it was just, the area that I grew up in, just like, the state of just all of us, is that, we didn't have money to go to concerts. Like, you think nowadays, like, going to a concert is expensive. I mean, even back then, if you're paying $40 plus travel, finding a babysitter, that's just not the resources that my family had. Yeah. And so, but church was free, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah, like I didn't get to experience a country concert and like the party aspect of that until I got older. But I think a lot of like how I designed my show is from movies, because I love movies, and then also that church experience, that revival experience, in the way that it's like a party, but also there's an invitation to like be your truest self. Not that there's any like, you know, like pushing anything on anybody at all, but you know, I love the party songs, and I always thought that like I needed those like anyway, because I love to have a good time.
Yeah.
And you know, to get the crowd going. But then I have those songs like that like I think are the reason people come to the shows. You know, like when I was growing up, like I really connected to artists, but I connected to them through a lot of their album cuts, like a lot of their deeper tracks. And if I were to want to go see one, it was because of a song probably nobody else really knew.
What would be an example of that?
Let me think of that. I think
'cause there's so many out there.
Yeah. I think an example of that would be I went to see John Mayer. And like, you know, I think a lot of people would go to see like Bodies of Wonderland or whatever. Like I went to hear Shadow Days, and I don't even remember if he played it. But it was like that song connected me so much to him that like I wanted to go see him in concert anyway.
Yeah.
Like, and I think at the time I was younger, I wasn't as familiar with his mainstream stuff. I went really deep into John Mayer as I got into my, you know, my 20s. But
a lot to go through.
Yeah. But that I was like, oh dang, like there's somebody out here who understands this feeling. That's what I wanted to connect to. You know. And it wasn't a song that was ever on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones, dude. Yeah. Like that's the shit that you really connect with. So this year, what have you been writing a lot? Sounds like we've got oh, you're good, buddy. It happens. Wrong pipe. Hands up in the air.
Oh, wow. That H2O, man.
It happens.
High quality.
High quality came our Circle K H2O, the good shit. What do you got going on the rest of this year? So I know you're writing a ton.
Yeah.
You just put out the project back in Blame It All on Country Music back in January. What do we have for the rest of this year?
Writing, recording, and releasing music. So
shows too?
Yeah, I mean, we have shows. We're playing CMA Fest in June. We've got a couple shows, like, you know, we're traveling to. I wish I could remember the cities right now. Yeah. I'm the worst at, like, knowing, like, which city we're in. I feel like you got to know how that is.
I was a tour manager.
Yeah, so you know what city you're in.
I could tell you where Trey Lewis or Muscadine Bloodline played, like,
you probably
4 years ago. Yeah, it's just
ingrained. Nightmares about.
Just ingrained, advancing shows, doing all that stuff.
Oh, man.
So are you gonna be out on the road quite a bit this year, you think?
We're talking about opening up a tour again in the fall.
Yeah.
I want to complete the project first. Like, I'm working on all new music. It'll be my first like releases, like truly under the label.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, I want to get that first like statement of who I am, like, out to the world, and like representation of, like, you know, what I felt was missing in country music when I was growing up. And I love what we've made. I feel like I'm writing the best songs that I've ever wrote in my life. Yeah. Like the things that I have coming out, I think, like, you never know, but like I feel like they resonate with me more than, you know, what I've released in the past. Yeah. And so I'm excited to get those out. I'm excited to do what I love, in the sense of like release music and, you know, share stories and connect with the fans again, dude. Something that like you miss about not being on the road, because like I love both aspects of being an artist. I was explaining this to somebody the other day, but like I love writing's probably my first love.
Okay.
At the same time, I can't do it for too long or I'll go insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's so creative. You're so in your head. And like, by the time like you get home, you realize, okay, I haven't had anything to eat. It's 7 p.m. Like, I'm like, I've got a stomach full of black coffee and I'm like shaking. And like, I've just been thinking about this one line for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, and like that can really like mess you up mentally. So it's like, you got to get out and do something physical.
Yeah. Or you can get into your head about, you can be like you're talking about a song like your daughter.
Yeah.
You could be reliving all these deep, dark memories in your head, and it can fuck up your headspace for probably a week at a time. Honestly, if you write something that's really deep, I'd imagine,
dude,
your next 24, 48 plus hours, you're just in a fog, and your girlfriend and your boys are probably looking at you like, what's going on, dude?
Yeah, dude.
Right? You probably run into that.
No,
don't
it does. It does affect you, like your relationships and like you socially too. Because I know like there's some days when like, you know, I'll have made plans or whatever, and like I just wrote a song that I'm like, shit, dude, I did not anticipate writing that today. And then like it's 7 o'clock, you're supposed to be at Red Door, and you're like, I don't think I can go to Red Door right now. You know, but yeah, man, I'll say too, the lows that come from just the process of creating. And I think I'm learning like more of who I am and how I go about this process. But like, you know, when you wrote what you feel like's the best song you've ever written, and like you do that a couple times in a month, and then you don't do that the next month. Oh my God, the bottom sucks. It hits hard.
Have you had those recently, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I think like, it's, you feel like, oh my God, there's this thing that I finally caught it, because like creativity is always something you just want to be like attuned to. Like you just want to kind of be in the space of like, you know, it's going to find me, because I've never really felt like I wrote a song. I felt like a song just like kind of found me, and I was just happened to be there in the room, and it just kind of spilled out.
You're the vehicle for it.
Yeah. It's just like, you just kind of have like your satellite like in the sky, and it just like, where do they come from? They just fall out of the sky. Like I can't explain it. And there are times when like, you know, you can sit down and just force a great song. Like I think there's people who have made a career off that and they're incredible at it. I don't know if I'm one of those guys. I am one of those guys that like I have to like be inspired, and I have to chase inspiration, and like when it does hit me, it just falls out of the sky, and I'm grateful for it. But I'm like, God, is it ever going to come again? Is it ever going to happen again?
Yeah.
And so like there's, you know, been a couple times where I'm like, dude, we just wrote the best song I think I've ever written in my life. You know, and then you do that a couple more times because you're on a streak, you know, and then you fall off the streak and you're like, oh, I'm nothing. I suck. I am garbage. I'm like
was that when you go and demo the songs that you are proud of? Do you do that during the streak and live off of those for a little bit?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like that's what I would do.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I mean, usually like these days, like you're going into a riot and you're getting a demo like usually within like the week.
Oh, and you're right with Jerry. You're getting the tracks are fucking going, bro.
Yeah, they're going.
The turnaround's crazy on that now, isn't it? It wasn't like that a few years ago.
Yeah, apparently that's like a new thing, like the whole, you know, like producer in the room. And what's funny is like, you know, I mean, I was always writing by myself, and Jerry was kind of my first co-writer.
Oh, wow.
I had co-writes before, but like that was the one that like first clicked, and Jerry did tracks like in the room as it went. And so I think that was just so inspiring to me because I hadn't been around that much music at one time. Usually it was just a guitar or just a piano. And with the track, I could hear more of the melody, what it should be in my head. And I think that was really good for me. And it was a great exercise as a writer, you know, because I'm limited on the guitar. You know, I play guitar live and everything, and I play my own songs, but it's like, you know, I'm not a lead guitar player. And so like I'm limited by what I know on the guitar. And I think most people, regardless of what you know on an instrument, would be limited to that instrument and like how it could inspire melody.
Yeah.
And so if you have someone else in the room who is talented on multiple instruments, just a mandolin can inspire a different melody than the same thing you've been hearing on a guitar every day.
Change the whole vibe of the song.
Yeah, it can. Yeah. And I think it's necessary because melodies are what inspire me. Like if I can hear that thing, then I'll have something. But
and talking about writing and stuff, you've been writing with two of my favorite dudes. I collect a lot of friends from the state of Alabama. And two of the dudes, I remember when Stimmy Jimmy, Justin Holt,
dude, I love that guy.
Then Clay Barker I had met after he had been in town for a little bit. But Jimmy, I remember when he first moved up here. Yeah. It was after a kickball game. We were at Ryan Nelson's house, the Redneck Frat House. And I remember this he looked like Chicken Little. It was this little kid come up to me and was like, "Hey man, I'm Justin Holt. I just moved up here from Alabama." And we just hit it right off, dude. And those guys I know enjoy writing with you and
dude, those are my boys, man.
And what's it like getting to know those guys?
The first night I met them was at Whiskey Row, and I had no music out. I don't know if I've ever played a writer's round. Like I had tried to, but like just nobody gave a shit about me, and so like it was hard to get in. And like and I don't know that like like I think like not having music out, like not really being like acclimated to the new people coming in town and everything. Like I showed up to Whiskey Row. And there's a guy in town named Stephen Paul.
I know Stephen.
Yeah. Paul's Pickles.
OG Paul's Pickles, baby. Shout out Paul's Pickles.
And he was posting this round, and a buddy of mine introduced us. And dude, he was the nicest guy, man. He's like, you play and sing? I was like, yeah. And he's like, you want to get up here and play my round? I was like, what? Yeah, I'd love to. And I think about that now. I'm like, nobody does that, dude. Like that was the nicest thing that guy could have ever done for me.
Yeah.
I got up and played a round with Justin and Clay. It was just the three of us up there. And I guess, I don't know if they had been up there, were scheduled to be up there or not, but I heard their songs and I was like, I have to be their friend. They have to be my friends. Like we got to write together. And so, I talked to him and I kind of bugged him about it. I was like, hey, you guys want to write? You want to write sometime? I think we could write something cool. Like, because Justin was doing this kind of rappy, cool, like cadence. It was fresh.
Swaggy mode, dude.
And I just knew if we could get together, we'd make something cool. But like, I was like being kind of, green about it. I was like, guys, you want to get together in a room? Like a little crack at it. Like, well, I think we make something really cool, And I think I bugged him about him for like maybe a month. And then we finally like wrote at I think, were Clay and Justin living together with Trey? Yeah. We wrote at that house because I remember somebody else was writing in another room. I think it was Trey. And I could hear him singing. And I'm like, damn, that guy's got a good voice. But I was like, we were writing in the living room. And we got a good song. And then I told him, I was like, hey guys, like I'm writing with this guy who like he makes these really cool demos. Like I think like, and he's a good writer. I think we should, all three of us, like go write with him. And they didn't know Jerry at all. I was like, I think we can make something really cool. And they did. And that day we wrote like our favorite song. And then like I was like, okay, they're my friends now. But they are, dude. They're my boys. Like I'd hit them up for anything. And dude, they wrote Blame It All on Country Music with me. And that day I had another idea that was basically Blame It All on Country Music, but we realized that was another song. And so we decided to write like a story song, like, and Daddy won't dig it, doesn't damn girl. And then the rap thing, obviously the cadence thing in the second verse, that was, me and Justin. And I was like, dude, he's awesome. And I think, his time's just coming, dude.
That's how I feel for both of them, honestly.
Oh,
it's
dude,
like
Clay's
got, you
so
talk
good.
about like the rock infusion
country,
within
dude.
country right now.
Yeah.
Clay is that guy.
Well, his ability, and he inspires me on the guitar because he grew up doing metal. And so he knows all of these rock chords
like the power
that
shit.
I didn't know. I knew the chicken picking stuff. And so, and like now I have a lot of that rock because I listened to so much rock music, but I didn't learn it on the guitar.
Yeah.
I learned country music because country was my first love. I wanted to sing Randy Travis. I wanted to sing Brad Paisley. And so, but now I realize like, oh my God, I've got Nickelback, I've got Daughtry, I've got Papa Roach in my veins right now.
I've
got Switchfoot bleeding through it, and I'm like, I need to get that in this music. And so Clay will come in, he's like, I got this guitar riff, and it's like it's sick, and I'm like, yeah, we're writing to that, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, those guys they're a great time.
Yeah.
We went out over here to this bar down the road, Rusty Nail, I think.
Oh, bro, Rusty Nail. That's
Blame It All on Country Music dropped, and we were all just,
Yeah, the Nail.
Celebrate.
We're actually gonna be there tonight. We do a few events. We do a few events a month out there now. We're up to like 10 to 15 events a month in town.
Dude, good
now,
for you, man.
We're fucking.
That's amazing. Proud of you, dude.
We're not just every other Tuesday or every other. Or Nicky used to be once a month on Sundays, and now he's every Sunday at Live Oak. I'm every other Tuesday at Live Oak. We do the full band shit at Losers. Or at Winners and Losers.
Dude, I wear my camo Rage Rowdy hat all the time.
Appreciate
my girlfriend steals it from me. Well,
we're gonna deck you out in some more.
Oh, let's go.
We got some more. We got some more shit over there. We got this
sick.
one for like turkey hunting and stuff.
Oh,
nice. That's a good solid thing.
Do you go hunting?
I've never been.
Really?
I've had multiple people tell me that they're going to be the ones that take me. Like Andy Austin from Old Hickory is like, Burrill, I'm gonna put you on a turkey, and like coming up with like the Muscadine Bloodline guys, like they are taking most of the spring off, so Charlie can go golf, and so Gary can go kill turkeys. Gary's killed turkeys in like 25 states, I think.
Wow. Yeah,
like he tried. Like I have buddies that are like John Langston's always like, come down to the farm, boy, come on down, New Yorker.
Dude, I used to hear stories like that, and I used to think like, man, how could you be doing this and not work? Like I'd be just grinding, and I'm like, you have to. You have to do stuff that you love to stay inspired.
Yeah.
Like you got to go back home. You got to go fishing. You got to be out in nature. You got to go to New York and see a Broadway show. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to do stuff that fills you up creatively so that you can go back and write a song that means something to you.
Yeah.
And I just realized that this year when like I hit a wall.
So what's your thing? What's your release?
I love to fish. Yeah. Like Jerry and I, we rented out an Airbnb or a cabin or something last year in like Gatlinburg or like somewhere out in East Tennessee that like was just surrounded by lakes.
Oh, you guys just got after it.
Yeah, dude, just cast. And then you can talk song ideas like while you're fishing, but you got something going on to where like your mind's just occupied enough that you're not like overwhelmed by creating something.
Yeah.
And also just being around nature, man. Like I think there's something like real peaceful about it. Or being on the water, like just being on a boat, like, that's cool to me.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely, bro. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited for what's coming for you, dude.
Yes,
super stoked for love the project and excited for what's coming after. Like what you've got teed up for the rest of this year and just watching you grow and do your thing, and people finally having the eyes and ears that they've always should have had on you. Like it's exciting, man. Seriously, you're a proud member. We're proud to have you in our family.
And thanks for having me. You know, I was playing your rounds before anything else.
Yeah, I know. I remember. I remember we would have you, and I'm trying to think who. I think you were the one that introduced me to Jerry.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember Clay and Justin booking rounds, like playing. And then Clay and Justin being like, "Hey, we got our buddy Jerry." I'm like, "Jerry Jacobs? That's like boys with Chase." And they're like, "Yeah, we all met it. We're all boys." I'm like, "Sick." So yeah, dude. I mean, you're one of our day ones for me with my round and what we do. So it's full circle to have you on the pod, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
Super excited for what's to come. Where can people go to find you on everything?
People will find me Chase McDaniel Music anywhere. Well, I'm at Spotify, Chase McDaniel. You know, YouTube, Chase McDaniel. Everywhere else, Chase McDaniel Music. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all that.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I appreciate you,
Appreciate
brother.
you, dude. Thanks for having me
on. Y'all be sure to check out our boy, Chase McDaniel. He's got a ton of stuff out right now. Blame it all on country music. You can see Baby Chase on the album cover right there. One of our good buddies here in Nashville, Tennessee, and got a bunch of stuff coming. So y'all stay tuned. Follow him for all the latest updates. For my man, Chase, I'm Matt Burrill. Y'all be sure to follow along with us. Visit raisedrowdy.com for all things Rowdy, and check out all of our socials at Outside the Round. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Tell your mom and them, hit that subscribe button. We will see you next time.